Here. So, our next question. So, this topic is going to be interesting for a lot of women out there who intend to explore themselves.
Hmm.
So, yeah, here. So, the next question is about how we can reclaim our sexual prowess and embracing our wild feminine side, expressing the feminine sexuality in a healthy, respectable way, a graceful way.
Okay. So I think the first part of exploring our wild feminine and our sexuality is tapping into our sensuality. So tapping into our senses, our connection with our body, our ability to feel, really stimulating all of our senses, the taste, the smell, the sounds, what we see, what we feel, the touch of our body, our own skin, really stimulating all of our senses, awakening that sensuality,
Mhm.
allows us to feel safe in our sexuality and our wild feminine, and gets us out of our head and more into our hearts and our roots and our bodies. So I think that really is the first step to any sort of healing and embodiment work is connecting with our senses. Um, and then to reclaim our wild feminine is really, it's about tapping into yourself and seeing what parts of you feel taboo or shameful or scary, or like
Mhm.
someone's told you you can't do those things. Diving into those and exploring those in your own space where you're safe, where you can be held. Maybe that's roaring in the woods or drumming or swimming naked or exploring your body, self pleasure, whatever it is that, someone has told you is not okay, but it felt natural to you when you were first doing it. Exploring those things, that's the part of our wild feminine that's been taken away.
Yeah, this I would emphasize a lot in um, the Eastern side, the Eastern culture. I think women still are unable to, freely express themselves when it comes to their sensuality and, you know, um, I think this idea of being bare body to receive natural elements like sunlight, receiving that light to all the parts of your body. Um, yeah, that sacred space or that acceptance in most parts of the world is yet to be activated. So, how do you think this would unfold in the coming days, years?
Um, I think we're going to see more comfort with nudity and acknowledgement of different bodies and openness to, we're already seeing it. There's so many different websites and women doing vulva art and, stuff like that to really help us understand that, there's so much shame around the vulva itself and how unique every single one is. And in the States, labiaplasty, like labia
Hmm.
reconstruction surgery, is one of the most
Oh,
popular plastic surgeries in the States. And it
okay.
starts at women of the age of 15, even. Yeah, like
Eh,
really, really devastating just because
is that
women
even
don't.
required?
Yeah, yeah, plastic surgery is huge there.
Oh,
And it really is
okay.
because of movies and porn and models and, things that are showing this false concept of what the body should be. And I think, we're starting to see so many different things coming out and speaking that, bellies are natural, boobs are different sizes, nipples are different shapes and colors, and, everything about the feminine body is unique and
Um,
beautiful in all of its ways. And yeah, I
okay.
think there's more emphasis on natural nudity and more emphasis on being able to express ourselves and connect with our emotions and express our emotions more freely. I think that's something that people are tapping into. And I found this year a lot of women are tapping into their voice. They're singing. A lot of women have been singing
Hmm.
as that healing modality because our throat is so connected to our yonis.
Hmm. Okay. Could you elaborate on that? How is our voice connected to a uni space?
Well, scientifically, we have three diaphragms. So we have one in our throat. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where like our throat will open and close for our voice to work. Then we have our diaphragm in
Okay.
the center, which where our breath
Right.
goes.
Hmm.
And then we have our diaphragm in like of our pelvic floor. So those are like the three levels in our bodies. So as we activate our voice up here, it's allowing us to breathe deeper, which allows our
Oh,
pelvic floor to open and expand as well and allows that to
okay.
breathe.
Uh-huh.
But also, you can see how closely connected the mouth and the yoni is by one of the holistic practices that I use for yeast infections is inserting a garlic clove into your vagina and carrying that for the day. And most women within 20 minutes will taste
Mm-hmm.
garlic
Mm-hmm.
just from it
Okay.
being in your vagina. You can taste the garlic. So our mouth and our vagina
Wow.
are so deeply connected. Yeah, it's wild.
Wow.
Yeah.
I haven't heard. I must definitely come to meet you.
Yeah.
You have such unique knowledge on this.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mm,
it's a really great
I'm
practice. I recommend
I'm
it to anyone
stunned.
that's yeah, that's experiencing that. Yeah, the
Mm,
connection between those two. So as we use our voice, we connect with our pelvic floors and um yeah, they're very deeply
mhm.
related. As above, so below.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Great. And this idea about I think on a planet like just as easy it is for men to okay, hi.
That's my giant dog.
So yeah, so I think that feeling of connectedness, being free in nature, just as it is easy for men to go and be naked, like bare body to certain extent. I think still in eastern side, the India, China, and Thailand, still the traditional communities. And this is where we find a major blockage where it feels like for women, there is no place as such where you can just be like
Mm,
still bare body and connect yourself to nature, just raw.
mhm.
Um, yeah, so how do you see this changing in coming times? Because then otherwise all the Eastern women have to always travel outside to feel all this, but not
Yeah.
in our country itself. It's kind of upsetting.
Yeah.
Mm,
And really it takes, a woman like you that's upset by that, that wants to change it and, finds that sacred space and creates it. I was a woman that, grew up around women and nudity was very comfortable for us.
mm.
So as I got older and was naked around friends and saw them like, just taken
Really?
aback when I take my shirt off, like I
Oh,
realized how, taboo it was to a lot of women. And for me, it was just so normal.
yeah,
Um,
but even in
so,
even in places like Canada, because all this is accepted over there, there is
but
something like
what's
a
fun
nude beach also. I heard.
So we have nude beaches, but they're still seen as very taboo. I've personally never even been to one here. And
Um,
I grew up in Ontario where it's legal for women to be topless in public. And it's been like that since
mhm.
like 1990 or something like that.
Hmm.
But here in New Brunswick, where I live now, it's still illegal for a woman to be topless in public unless it's in a designated area like a nude beach. So it is still considered inappropriate for us to be topless. Um, so there
Well,
is a
in
lot
that case, I think West or East is the same story everywhere, right?
yeah.
But very few women are taking the step to. really break this chain also. I think mostly in Australia. Yeah, I
Yeah.
just came up came across these posts where Australian women are breaking this cycle.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm surprised it's the same situation in Canada also.
Yeah.
Good
It's
that yeah, we discussed this because I was absolutely of a different idea about how it is here in India and how it is over there. But then
oh yeah,
pretty
no,
much the
it's
same
still
issue
yeah, it's
everywhere.
still very taboo to be naked around here and around other women, and really depending on your upbringing and the woman who, how she felt and how she brought you up. Um, and, like when I have women's circles or I host events and stuff, like a friend of mine, she has a sauna. And last time we had a gathering,
Mhm,
there's only so much space. So the first group of women that went in with bathing suits on, and the second group of
mhm,
women who went in completely naked. So there was a pretty much even divide of women that felt comfortable and wanted to be naked together and women that didn't. So
mhm.
yeah, it is very broken up, and it really just takes us holding that space and helping women feel safe to do that and to know that it's okay.
Breaking
It's
out
more
of
than
that shell,
okay. It's wonderful.
yeah, breaking out of their own shells. Mm.
Mhm.
So there's a
Yeah.
lot to be done as
Yes.
like leaders,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
right?
You
Mm.
also asked about like the sexual energy and tapping into that. And again, that can be very scary because it's when we're not used to it, it's overwhelming. It's very intense energy and can be a lot for us to handle if we don't understand. But again, coming back to honoring our own bodies and exploring our own bodies and allowing space for pleasure and choosing partners that honor our need for pleasure before they finish. And when we tap into that sexual prowess, it's really a sense of empowerment. And it allows our ability to stand in our confidence and our return to leadership and really awakens that deep inner knowing. Our wombs are a portal to the universe, right? And are a portal of life. And
Yeah.
when we can awaken those spaces through self pleasure and orgasms and
Mhm.
intimacy with other people that's in a safe and accepting and really allowing all of the versions of us to show up, it allows us to really know our strength and ourselves. And to be quite honest, I use orgasms as a manifestation tool. I think they're one of the
Oh,
greatest
wow.
manifestation tools, because we
Okay.
can birth anything, not just babies, but we literally have the ability to birth all of life. So
So, could you give me one or two examples for our viewers, like how we can use this orgasm to make things happen in reality? Whatever we desire, like specific, like as simple as, okay, I want this color or dress. So, I'm just giving an example. Like, how would you then use the orgasmic manifestation tool? Like, I want this and this dress, or the
right.
sensual uh, energy work.
Yeah, whatever it is, it comes down to the understanding that our wombs are a portal. So if we can pull in a soul, like we can look at creating a baby in the very scientific way of like sperm and egg and putting it together, but there is a lot more to that.
Yeah.
And it's literally a life form coming into our bodies and then being held and grown in our bodies and birthed out. So our wombs are literally a portal to the universe. It's a portal of life. So tapping into orgasm opens up that portal in our wombs, opens up that light and that force within us, um, connecting us to the earth womb and the cosmic womb.
Hmm.
So when we can do those things and journey through that medicine wheel within our wombs, then we can awaken that force within us. So as we're exploring self pleasure, we can use visualization. We can picture the
Mm-hmm.
red dress that we want in all of its detail, and we can just know that we have the ability to create life however we want it to be. And the
Mm-hmm.
more we're in that state of pleasure and enjoyment and relaxation, like that's manifestation 101. The more you're in a state of pleasure and relaxation, the easier things will flow in because you're open to receiving. The more you're trying and forcing and being that creates resistance to things. So allowing ourselves to be open in orgasm is the most open to the universe that we could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, yeah, I think it's really just about being in that moment and really stepping into that portal of pleasure and allowing yourself to just bring it in, whatever it is that you desire.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's a partner, maybe it's a baby, maybe it's a new home, maybe it's a new dress, maybe it's a new job, but really sitting in that orgasm and that sense of pleasure and visualizing and knowing and detailing your desire just calls it out to the universe in perfect clarity and allows it to come back in. And we can use our orgasm. So you can either fully release and letting it out as though you were birthing your desire into the world, or you can contain that energy, just holding
Mm-hmm.
yourself back at the very last second. And instead of releasing, pulling that up through your body and allowing yourself to be filled with that power force of energy.
Yeah, that is like filling up our body with the power. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because it feels vast. Then you want to contain more energy. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have a point. I'm just remembering the line right now. If we women have to really embrace all of this without any judgments, we need a new planet. Where women are just no rules, no
Yeah.
no
Oh yeah.
restrictions.
I've
Yeah,
thought of that about that, just a community of women for a very long time, and I think a lot of us do, just a safe space of women. But um,
yeah. Because
ultimately,
when
that
we spoke about this, where women in the West as well as East have this issue of walking freely on earth, uh, with our bare body, or I mean, okay, still a little bit of civilization, but there are very few spaces where women are able to express themselves. Then let's have a go to a new planet.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, or
Yeah,
just find the hidden beautiful places in the world, rebuild our
yeah,
goddess temples that we can do that in and be free in. And
yeah.
really that's what we're doing with recreating our sister circles and holding the space for women to do that. We just, like your place looks beautiful. Light some candles, put some fuzzy rugs down, and invite a bunch of women over to just, express their wild selves and remind people that it's safe and empowering to do so. It just
Right.
it just takes one leader to step into that place and hold that space for others.
Definitely, I'm on it. Like, yeah, let's do this. And sometime if you can come to India, if we can do some circles, would be amazing. Why not?
That, that would be
And
very
yeah,
amazing.
this is my home, so my parents are here, so not a good idea. Yeah.
Well, hopefully they go on vacation at some point.
Yeah, for sure. And um, one question is just coming up. One point is just coming up. So, how are different colors enhancing our sensuality? Would you like to take it as just a random topic?
Colors.
How are
So,
colors? What kind of colors would
yeah.
enhance us, enhance feminine sensuality?
Absolutely. So, someone told me a long time ago before I was into this work that if you paint your room red, you'll have more sex. So I did it, and it proved itself to be true.
Mm-hmm.
um, but the colors, so the colors red, white, and gold, for me personally, even some warm blues, but red, white, and gold specifically are very womb goddess related. You know, the white is the purity and the light, and the red representing our blood and our wombs. Um, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that deep red color, and then gold just really allowing that goddess energy, because gold is just so vibrant and beautiful. You know, I'm constantly drawn to the figure behind you there that's just gold and shiny, and your necklace that you're wearing as well.
Yeah.
It's like those
Oh, thank
colors
you.
speak to us and light us
Thank
up,
you.
and they're such a potent substance. So filling ourselves with those reds and those golds and those whites, and allowing us to feel um, like we're in our own temple, sort of thing. Yeah,
Actually,
creating those
when you
spaces.
said temple, I just remembered one point related to the Egyptian culture, um, related to the menstrual blood and us and the sensual essence. Like women used to just have rituals in the river where they embrace their sensual nature plus the moon blood flowing through, and it used to help in regeneration of the places.
Hmm.
Anything to touch upon? Are you relating to it? Do you have any insights on that? This just came as a statement to me like that. So
Mm. Um, so on like moon blood and giving it back to the earth, do you mean? Or
yes, and the sensual expression, because I think Egyptian culture was more about expressing sensuality at a massive scale. Like, a
yeah,
lot
right.
is felt in that culture. Yeah.
Hmm. So we have two periods of peak sensuality in our cycle. One is during ovulation, and one is during our bleed. So we actually have deep, powerful sensuality while we are on our periods, while we were bleeding. But that sensuality is very different than ovulation sensuality and that energy. Um,
Hmm.
so if we have, you know, if we hold space for ourselves, or we have partners that will hold space for us to tap into that sensuality while we're bleeding, it's really a beautiful healing self-expression. Um, and for me personally, and I recommend this to everyone, traditionally before, our moon blood would go back into the earth. We didn't use things like tampons and pads and throw it away like garbage. We collected it and we gave it to the earth, or we bled directly onto the earth.
Oh,
So you
okay.
know, I use a menstrual cup instead, and I have a little
Hmm.
sacred jar, and I dump the cup into the jar, and then I'll bring that to a river, or put it in my garden, or feed it to a plant, or
Hmm.
you know, I include also like my clients when they birth in the pool, that water goes out back to the earth, and is treated very sacredly. And or you can do different things like uh, painting your yoni with your menstrual blood, like
Okay.
actually using your menstrual blood as paint, which
Hmm.
is a very, very cool practice, or painting your body with it, doing face masks with it. It's all of those things awaken this sensuality and that really beautiful sacredness of the moon blood, and it stimulates our senses. And the more we stimulate our senses, the more we can awaken that sensuality in all kinds of ways.
Right. I think that's why the idea of Tantra, sensuality, the Tantra style of touch and senses becomes so prominent. Like I tend to be drawn towards learning more about what is that. Always
Mm-hmm.
felt like my soul gets attracted to simply the touch of it. It's not always the actual. sexual interaction, but the touch and the duration that we spend in just experiencing those touches, I think Tantra has become so prominent in that case.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How is it
we've
in how is it in your place? Like are people taking out time to only experience sensuality just through touch? How is it among couples over there?
I think now I think a lot of couples are still very dissociated from that. And there's a lot of
Really?
couples in North America that have sex issues and intimacy issues, and there is a lot of disconnect and very,
Um,
there's a huge difference between sex and
but
intimacy and intercourse, but most people think sex and intimacy and intercourse are all the same thing of just
mm,
in out,
I'm just
and
coming in. I'm just coming in there. Like, uh, just I just wanted to share one very important thing. Like, so what I see on Instagram, the kind of podcasts or YouTube videos I see, it seems like there is a lot of awareness about these things in the and the Northern Hemisphere, the West and the North side. But what you are saying is many of them in the local still are not aware. So yeah,
oh yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
It
The
just
amount
feels
of
like on Instagram everybody knows everything, but then this is something new that I'm listening to you.
yeah, no. So for every podcaster and Instagram influencer, there's 100 people that they're speaking to or more, right? Like
Hmm.
they're teaching these things to help people realize and to tap into this stuff. If everyone was aware of it, they wouldn't have a business. They
But then
wouldn't
they
be
have so many
podcasting
followers.
anything.
But then they
Well,
have
yeah,
so
because
many
people are,
followers who are like interested to know these things. But then in
yeah,
ground
because people
realities, a lot of them still don't know things.
Yeah, people are drawn to it and they're intrigued by it because that it's a natural nature within us. We want to tap into that sensuality and we want to have great sex. But the
Hmm.
followers doesn't mean all of those people are doing it, doing the work to tap into it. Most people are still too busy with life, too busy with their
Hmm.
job and their kids and their school and everything to explore such ways of life. And that's why a lot of people create these businesses is to because we want to create this space to explore this stuff. That's
Hmm.
one of the reasons I created my business was because I wanted to be able to honor my cycle and I wanted to have this space to explore my body and my womb. And when you're working a 9 to 5 job 5 days a week or more, you don't really have the time or the energy. It doesn't create as much space. You really have to have a much bigger self devotion practice in order to dive into those things.
Hmm. Yeah, that takes investment of time and efforts, learning.
Hmm.
Yeah, huge subject.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Great. This today's interview has been one of the best and most beautiful experience for me. How has it been for you?
Oh, it's been wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. I love talking about this stuff, and it's so nice to hear your perspective from India and, share the different ways and how we can explore these things and help it grow together. So, yeah, really thank
Right.
you
Yeah.
for
And
this.
let's touch many more lives, women and men,
Hmm.
embracing this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hope to see you soon in India.
Yes, yes, that would be so wonderful. It's definitely on my list of places to visit. So,
Please do, because you have a very unique skill set. Yeah, it'll be very different. And you have so much knowledge on home birthing as well.
mm,
Great. Like a little about home birthing. Would you want to add something about how you take this up?
sure.
Because it's pretty common there. Here it's not. It's like cesarean is the only thing. Is
Yeah, it's not common here either. In
mhm,
there's a few provinces in Canada that have midwives, and midwives will go to houses for home birthing.
mhm,
But the midwives are still very much regulated into the medical system, so it's not
mm,
wild birthing. It's not the woman in charge of her body. Um, so it is a scary thing because the birthing women are taking full responsibility for whatever happens. If
mhm.
they get hurt or they lose their baby, they're taking the responsibility for that. Though it's not necessarily their fault, they
Right.
have to deal with the responsibility of grieving that process. So a lot of women don't want to do that because they don't want to risk their child's
Mm,
life or their own life. And even more so, their men are still beside them. Even if they feel comfortable, a lot of their men are saying, I'm not comfortable. This is not okay. I won't do this. This is my child
wow.
too.
Oh,
So it is a very, like, you have to be
lack of
firmly rooted.
awareness. Mm,
Yeah. You really have to be firmly rooted to make that decision and to be heard and acknowledged. But I have attended 2 hospital births and 3 home births.
uh-huh,
The 2 hospital births were long, scary, painful, quite uncomfortable, and the women both suffered a lot of trauma from it.
mhm,
The things that they had to go through, the stuff, how they weren't listened to, and the stuff that the doctors did without even asking for consent was terrifying.
but that's a
Whereas,
law.
yeah,
That's a clause, right?
yeah, but they think if it's a life or death emergency, they have the right to step in and do anything. And because a woman in that state is so, we're in a totally different realm, you need an advocate to say, back off, give her a moment, ask her if she has that right, if she wants to do what you are,
Mm,
insisting. And still here, there's a whole lot of cesareans, absolutely.
mhm,
But the home births that I've witnessed, where the women are on their own and their partners are supporting them, and they have, their sister, their cousin, or me there, or, their children there to witness the birth, they're relaxed. They're at ease. They feel safe. They're in their own home. They can shower afterwards and climb into their bed. They have all the
oh.
good, nourishing foods. 'Cause hospital food, I don't know if it's the same for you there, but here it's absolute garbage. It's not anything people want to
Oh,
eat, especially not after you've gone through, that marathon of giving birth.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
And
all of these wonderful things in their home, and they recover way faster. There's
mhm,
less
mhm,
risk because the risk comes from the stress and the interventions and the medications. Only at
yeah,
any point is, like, if there's a real big risk, most of the time those women have enough time to get to the hospital if it's required.
mm,
So yeah, from my experience of what I've seen, home births are by far the safest and most relaxing and comforting and beautifully empowering experiences for women. And I would hands down do that
choose,
anytime.
yeah,
Yeah.
homework. And
Yeah.
I think, again, the presence of the father um, plays a huge role in this, and home birthing is the way to go. Yeah,
Hmm.
because yeah, the presence of the father. Otherwise, I think in hospital setup and all, it's like the family is asked to stay out and all those things. And I think
Yeah.
that's how that presence of the father figure, that absence is felt, and in all in that rush of the time, right?
Mhm.
So I think home
Yeah.
birthing is like perfect because yeah, the husband can be there, the father figure can be there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it really depends on the woman too. I've seen where he was there and
Hmm.
never left at her side and was coaching her all the way through. I've seen
Mm-hmm.
where he was totally in another room because couldn't handle hearing her screams and was terrified of her dying, kind of thing, and
Mm,
only came in once baby was out. I've seen it all different
mm,
ways, and it really depends on the mother, and what she wants, who she wants around her. Because some men are still too, because they're in that space of protection. They're our
mm,
protectors. That's one of their roles. Um, it can be really hard for them because they don't know this experience. They don't have that deep understanding. So when we're screaming and wailing at the top of our lungs because that's what feels right to do, they're terrified that we're in danger because that's not a natural
mm.
sound that they've ever heard come out. So those fears kind of come into it. So you have to be really, yeah, really flexible and flowing with that, and just honoring how the
Yeah.
mother feels comfortable. And that's what's lost in the hospitals. They don't honor how the mother is most comfortable, or how she wants to
Mm,
move, how she wants to birth, how, what she wants to do with her body
mm,
through the process. And in that too, doesn't honor the baby, because the baby has a huge part in birthing. Babies moving around and backing out and coming in and doing all kinds of things. Like, they're just as proactive in that, as well. And the medical system has no concept of that whatsoever, because most of the time in the hospital, they're doping them up so the baby is numb to their role in the process.
yeah.
So, mhm.
Really great. I think this is giving me a idea. Like there's so much both men and women have to learn, and so much to change.
Yeah,
Big changes ahead, and
big
exciting
change.
too.
Hmm. Yeah, very exciting.
Great.
Yeah.
This has been a great conversation. Thank you,
Mhm.
Willow, for being here. And I'll upload it soon and share the links with you as well. Any other details or contact details, if you want to share, yeah, you could send it to me on email ID so that I can put it in the description.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
Rachel. It was
All
lovely.
right. Thank you so much. Namaste. Have a beautiful time ahead. Sure.
Thank you.
See
Bye.
you.